Howdy everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be creating a floral garland. Now I had a suggestion or request from Carolyn Rich on my Trisha's Creation Facebook page. She messaged me asking if I was going to maybe do that, and I thought it was a great idea, so I said yes, I am going to do that. So I got all my supplies together to create that. Some of the supplies I purchased new and some of them I already had. So I'm just going to show you how to create this garland. We're going to start from scratch. We're not going to use an already made garland that you can add things to use it for the particular season. We're going to start from scratch so then you know that you can use this idea for any time of the year. It's not just for Valentine's, which is what I'm gonna gear for. So let me show you what the supplies are going to be. And by the way, thank you very much to Carolyn for that suggestion. I really needed it. Alright, for our supplies, we're going to need some wire, and I've got this wire here. This is about maybe a 22 gauge. It didn't come specified on the packaging. This is a package of that I got from the Dollar Tree. It's a little packet of 3 wires in there. There was like a red, the silver, and a black. It didn't say what gauge it was, but from using wires, it's about maybe 22 24 gauge. I don't think it's 24, it's probably a 22. This one will need at least 6 feet. Our garland is going to be 6 feet. Most standard garlands are 6 feet long. If you want to do 9 feet, you can go ahead and do so. But if you're just going to hang it on a little spot, you don't need a lot of garland. 6 feet is just enough. Okay, so you need 6 feet of that. You will also use a floral wire. This is a 26 gauge wire. It's a very thin wire. It's very soft and pliable. So you're going to need this to wire up some flowers and some leaves and such. So we're also going to need some floral tape to cover all that wire. And I'm using green. You can use white or the brown if you want to use that, but I really suggest you use green because it looks a little more natural. Now we're going to need some greenery to first fill in all our garland. And I've got all these little leftover bits of leaves. There's from some rose bushes that I had at one point, or some rose stems, and I didn't need them, but I saved them because I thought someday I will use them. So here I am. I'm going to use those, and I'm going to be creating some little sprays with that, and I'll show you what I mean by that later. And then I've got this fern. This one I just recently purchased at Hobby Lobby. You can get it from anywhere you want to get it from. I like this. It is a very long stem of leaves, but what I do is I cut it into shorter little bits, and I'll show you how I do that as well. Now from the Dollar Tree is where I purchased a lot of little flowers. Some I had left over, some I went ahead and took out from another arrangement that I had already created. So I'm recycling. So if you have something that you want to take apart and it has a lot of flowers, you're going to do some recycling. But let me show you an example. This is a bush right here that I got obviously from the Dollar Tree, as I said, and this has about 5 flowers in it. If you want to create a nice garland, you need about maybe 4 or 5 bushes if this is the only flower you're going to use. Otherwise, combine it with others, and then we'll separate them and make little sprays, and I'll explain again what that is. And I also did get some new ones that have these little green little berries on them, and some of these little white ones. So we're going to work that into our garland. Because it is Valentine's, I'm going to be adding some ribbon. Now these are not going to be like bows that I'm going to be adding in there, but I am going to be adding like little loops of ribbon into my garland. This is just to fill it up, and I did get these from the Dollar Tree. These are 9 feet of ribbon, or 3 yards. And then I've got this tulle. It's a little glittery tulle that I got from the Dollar Tree as well. Again, you can get all these items from wherever you want, and it just depends on how much you want to fill your garland with. Then get yourself a lots to fill it in. Now a garland already made can cost you quite a bit of money, so it does make sense to go ahead and purchase supplies. You may end up spending $20–30 to make a garland, but if it's worth it to you, you can do that, because buying one already made, if you look at the prices, they're up $60–70, even $80 for a garland, which I think is kind of crazy. But of course you can make it for less than $20 or $30, but that all depends on where you do your shopping. Okay, I'm going to be using scissors to cut my ribbon, wire, cutters obviously for my... Now I'm going to give you a little tip. I'm going to use my glue gun. I'm not going to glue this to my glue things to my garland, but I'm going to use my glue gun because there'll be times when you'll have a flower that maybe keeps falling off its little stem, and you keep sticking it back on, but it ends up falling off. In order to control that, we're going to add a little bit of glue in there and then stick it back in. So that's a little tip to do that. Also, sometimes you get one flower that's kind of like floppy, like the petals are kind of floppy, and it makes the flower not look very nice. It looks crushed. So you can add a little dot of glue in here and then glue it back, glue it up, not back because it wasn't already glued. Just glue it up like that and let it stick, so then the flower can be nice and pretty, and you won't have these little floppy little petals coming down, which you get a lot of, especially with these Dollar Tree flowers. Like look at this flower, for example. It's got these petals that look a little bit nasty. Use a little bit of glue, stick these up, and then the flower will look pretty once it's all glued. And I'll do that so that you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's get to crafting. Okay, so let's start by preparing all our parts, so putting it all together will be a lot easier. So first, cut out your 6 feet of wire and just have that ready. And I forgot to mention, but if you could have something where you can measure on at least a foot, or you can use a ruler, whatever you happen to have, or a cutting mat like this. Or if you want to cut out a piece of tape, put it on your table that marks 12 inches. That'll be very helpful to you. Okay, also from my floral wire, I cut off a bunch of little pieces, and these can be about 6, 8, or 8 inches long, little pieces of wire. Just have a whole bunch of them cut up ahead of time. That way you don't have to be cutting every time you need one, but just cut ahead of time a bunch of them. So I'm gonna put those out of the way. And then we're gonna take all our floral, berry, or whatever greenery bushes, and we're gonna start cutting them from the bush so that we have individual stems. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the bottom part, the closest to the bottom, and cut there so that you get the longest stem possible. If it has any greenery, just push it upward so that you can cut a lot easier these pieces. Now, I mentioned earlier there might have pieces that keep falling off. This one keeps falling off, so I'm just going to put a dab of glue on the little stem there, and then just stick this in there, and that'll dry up and it won't fall out anymore. So we're going to put those out of the way, and I've already cut all of the rest of my greenery and all of my flowers, and just have stems like this. Okay, this was the flower that was kind of like a little bit crushed and really not very nice looking, so I'm going to put a little dot of glue right in there. Bring up that petal, push it up against the other ones, this one as well. Little glue, push it up against the other ones. There we go. So now it looks nice, and you don't have a, drooping petals on it. So that's been fixed. Okay, here's all my cut pieces. I put them in a little vase here. They're all cut up. I'm not going to show you, but they basically look like this. They're all just in stems. I also cut up these white ones in stems because I don't know if I'm going to use all of them, but at least they're all cut up and they're ready to use. I did have some little leftovers from some other projects that I pulled out. These don't have the stem on them, but that's okay. I don't need that. And I could easily just pull these off, but like I said, I might end up needing the stem for another project if I don't use them all up. I feel like I am going to use them, but for now, we're just going to go ahead and put them to the side and at least have them like that. And these little bits are fine just like that. Okay, also, I did mention the greenery, so I've cut this all up. See, these are all now individual leaves or stems. And now the great thing about this is that it's cut up. Like if you buy bushes and you're going to end up cutting them up, cut them up ahead of time and have them, they fit nicer in a box like this rather than if they're if they're still, in this big old stem in a big bush, and it takes up a lot of space. So cut off all the leaves, keep them like this, and these are ready to be put into an arrangement or, made into a garland or whatever you're going to do. Just like that. So just keep them like that. We may cut these smaller, but we're not going to do that yet unless we need them. So put those aside, and I've got those other leaves also set aside. Okay, let me show you what I'm going to do with these because I did not prepare them. So all these little wires that you've cut up, you're going to take these, and if you'll notice, this doesn't have any stem or anything. I could attach it to this wire just like that, but the problem is that there's not a lot of it to grab from to attach it to a garland, and it might pull off very easily. So to avoid that, I'm going to put some wire on it, and it can just be very loosey-goosey. It doesn't really matter. Just get your wire, tie it on there. And now that I've got a wire coming off from the bottom of it, I just take some tape, wrap it up around part of the stem as well, a little bit of, oh, and look at these little flower bits. We're going to glue those so they don't come off. Now when you're adding floral tape, you pull on it just a little bit. That releases the adhesive, and that's what makes it stick. Don't try to wrap the tape around it just as it is, because it's not going to stick. So you need to kind of be pulling on it a little bit, not too hard, you don't want to tear it. But as you're rolling it around on your wire, just pull on it, use your other hand to roll it, and then kind of press it as you're doing that as well. So just, you only need a little bit, at least 4 inches. This is about 4 inches right here, okay? You only need about 4 inches wrapped up. That's enough to grab onto the garland. We can actually trim off any excess. That'll make sure that this will stay on the garland. Okay, so now these little bits came off of here. I'm going to stick them back in there. Put a little bit of glue. Just a tiny little dot is really all you need for something this small. Okay, and there we go. That's going to dry and it won't come off again. Okay, we're still using these little bits of wire here. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our ribbon. And I don't remember how. Oh, it was 12 inches. Okay, I cut 12 inches of ribbon. Sorry, I had a little cold going too, and I can't, you know, as I'm talking, it makes me want to cough. So I took 12 inches of ribbon, just fold it like that, somewhere in the middle, just kind of gather it. Again, you're going to take another piece of wire in the center, fold it around, twist it like that. You can twist these together. And there you have that. And then all I did was just cut like at a little bit of an angle on these little tails. You can cut them straight if that's what you want. But that's it, just a little loop like that. And then again, we also want to cover that wire with tape. The other thing is that adding this floral tape also gives this some girth. So when you put it on this other wire, it'll actually, girth meaning some thickness. So it won't be so, I guess, it won't be so floppy, or it won't be so, I don't know what the word is that I'm trying to think of. Maybe some of y'all can think of it. But it'll have some I guess some sturdiness to it. Okay, so we're going to put the floral tape, but look what I'm doing is I'm right here where I put the wire across it. I'm adding this floral tape, but I pinched it right here. And I left a little tail, and I pinched it right here. A little pinch, put it right over that wire, bring it around. And I'll just wrap it around this kind of loosely, okay? And then just kind of press it. And then you take the other end of the tape, and then you start wrapping it around. And like I said, you pull on it a little bit. I like to just grab it like this and twirl it in with my fingers. And my other hand is actually pulling on it as I do that. So just practice and you'll be able to do this. It'll go a little bit quicker. There we go. Just like that. And then that'll be wrapped with wire. It'll be wrapped with floral tape. So it'll give it some, like some girth, like I said. And here's another one that I already made earlier so that I would know what size I wanted to do it. And just make a whole bunch of these with your ribbon. Now, I got 3 rolls and they're 3 yards each. We're going to see how far this goes with me. And then you can decide if you need more ribbon and you want to make these a double looped. That's all up to you, okay? So let's put this over to the side. Now I'm also going to take a leaf, one of these little leaf bits, and I'm also going to put some wire on it. So right here at the bottom, I'm going to take my wire and just kind of, I don't know if you can see, I have a little bit of an overlap of wire right here. So then I can bring that around and then roll it around the stem of it, and then the other end also do the same, but then leave a length of it. Leave a length of wire like that. Just wrap it around nice and tight. Okay, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take your tape, pull in a little bit to release the adhesive, and we're going to wrap these up and then just pull. For me, it works better this way, guys. Pull and twirl. Pull and twirl and press. My fingers get really dry doing this because of the adhesive on the tape. So Just keep that in mind. That will happen. You know, wash your hands several times. But anyway, then we have that wrapped in. And I did this other one just to remind myself of what I needed to do. Okay, so now we're going to do this one here, which is some tulle. And it's just like the ribbon. We're going to wrap the wire around it, tighten it, and then put the tape around it, like I did the ribbon. But let me go ahead and show you. These I cut 8-inch pieces. You don't have to use tulle. You can actually use that deco mesh if you want, if you don't like tulle. But I'm going to use this, and if I feel like my garland is not full or whatever, then I can pull out some deco mesh or maybe some white, so you know it all won't be so pink. Okay, so take your piece of tulle or deco mesh, or if you want to use a thicker ribbon, go right ahead, and then just gather from the middle, just like I did that one. Get your wire, and again in the middle, you can have wire coming out this way, wire coming out this way. So the two centers basically, and then just tie it. And then I twirl the fabric part so it tightens up that way. Forgive me, kind of losing my voice here. Okay, so just open it up like that, and then take your tape, a little bit of a tail here, and then pinch it right here. Pull on it so the adhesive comes out, and you can kind of stick it in there. And then right over the wire that goes across in the center with the tape. Get the little tail and just loosely wrap it around, pull on it a little bit, release the glue. That's what I meant to say, the adhesive on the tape. Release the adhesive. So pull on it, wrap it around, pull on it. This is another way you can do it. You can be pulling and twirling with your left hand and pressing down. So you'll see me kind of do it one way and then see me doing it with my left. I'm ambidextrous, so I kind of use both hands. Okay, so here we go. Now do as many of those as you need. I would do a few at a time. I wouldn't cut too many, because what if you cut too much? But we'll figure it all out, how many I ended up using at the end of my 6-foot garland. And I haven't done this in a long time, everyone, so I'm sort of learning as you are learning as well. Okay, so we're going to prepare all our pieces, prepare as many as we can, and then we'll start adding them to our wire here. But we'll also be preparing the flowers, but we'll just do that as we go, depending on how many we need once we've got all these other little parts put together. Okay, we'll be back. All right, everyone, I've gone ahead and got ahead of myself and done a lot of work, because I wanted to figure out exactly how much I was going to need to create for my 6-foot garland, so I can go ahead and start explaining some things to you right now. First of all, I'm going to be using, and I showed you these leaves at the beginning that I had left over from other projects. I did not have enough of this to complete my garland the way that I want to, but I did have this other one here. So I decided that I would do half and half, and I happen to have enough. So I'm going to combine these leaves with in my garland, and I'm going to do half and half. Okay, so some of the leaves that I had these extra leaves on the bottom. Now, if you remember, when I showed you how to prepare these, this is the leaf spray. I told you it's got a short little stem, so we need to put some wire on it so it's long enough so I can grab it onto the other wire to create the garland, because if it's too short, it can pull out easily. So then I have these here, and these have these extra leaves. So what I did is I just cut off these extra leaves right here, just like here. And when I cut off the extra leaves, I ended up having a longer piece of stem, and I felt that was long enough to attach to my garland. So therefore, I don't need to add wire and tape like I did to this one. Okay, this one can just be taped straight onto the flower and the garland, just like that. Okay, so if you have a long enough stem, you don't have to prepare with wire and tape. Just keep that in mind. Okay, we're going to put these out of the way, because I need to show you what I'm calling each of my pieces. I already told you this is called the leaf spray, and the reason that I'm going to tell you what I'm calling them is because I am going to put in the description box what I used to create my garland. That way you'll know what to buy. Okay, and you can do a little screenshot, or if you have it on your phone, then you can look at the description box and see what's in the supplies, and you can create it exactly as I did. Now I'm doing this again. I'm doing a 6-foot garland. If you're doing a 9-foot, then you'll have to do adjustments. If you're doing a 12-foot, then you can just double it. Okay. So this is the leaf spray. So when I put in their leaf spray, this is what I mean. When I say a filler spray, I'm talking about these little flowers here. They're little filler flowers. They're just to fill in between other flowers to make it look a little fuller and just to add a contrast of color. Okay, so this is the little filler spray. When I say a tulle spray, I mean this. It's just a little thing that I made, and it's called a spray because it's, sprays out. It sprays out with flowers, it sprays out with leaves. So this sprays out with tulle, and this is what the tulle spray is when I mention that. The other thing I'm going to mention on there is just my bow, and this is just the one loop bow that I made. So that's what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to say flowers, and these are the flowers. Now I have 3 different flowers. You can pick all the same, and if you decide to choose 3 different ones, you can do 3 different colors. Just coordinate the colors that go with whatever theme you're doing. I have them all in pink, and that's fine. They're all different and they look nice together, and that's why I'm using this little filler to contrast between them. Otherwise, you really don't need this, but I'm going to add it in because just to break it up. Okay, and I could also do the tulle in white. I had white tulle. I could have changed it, but I went ahead and I did with what I had. Okay, so let me tell you what you're going to need for the complete 6-foot garland. How much of everything do you need? Okay, so for my bows, it is 1 foot of ribbon per bow, and 3 yards is 9 feet, so you get 9 bows. You're going to need to get 12 bows all together, so you're going to need at least 2 rolls of 3 yards of ribbon. Okay, so if you get those little rolls that have only 3 yards, get yourself 2 rolls of that. For the tulle, I was able to use just 1 roll. They're 8 inches, and I got all of my 12 pieces because I needed 12 of those as well. I got 12 8-inch pieces out of 1 3-yard roll of tulle, and I even had a little bit here left over. So you only need 1, okay? And I will put that in the description box so you'll know exactly. Okay, so we know these 2 already. The filler, you are going to need 12 of these as well. The leaf spray, you're going to need this one. What did I put on my list? Yeah, you're going to need 12 of this one as well. I think the filler one is actually 24. I will make an adjustment, but I believe you need 24 of those. And I'll explain why in a little bit. And the flowers, you're going to need 36. Again, this is all for a 6-foot garland. I'm going to show you how I put all those together to create a floral spray. This here is my floral spray right here. Okay, and now that I'm looking at it, yes, you're going to need 24 of these little bits. Okay, not 12. All right, I made an adjustment on my paper here as well, so I'll remember to do that. Okay, here on my little chart I have my 12 inches marked. That's a foot, and again my garland is 6 feet, so this is going to be 6 times, but I need to know how much I need to release for 1 foot so then I can multiply it by 6, and that's how I came up with my whole total that I just told you. I am going to create 2 of these floral sprays for each foot. All right, these are going to go like that. This is going to cover 12 inches right there. But I also had my fern and then these berries. So I just took my ferns and I cut off some of the leaves off the little, it was a longer stem like that, and I just took off some of the leaves. I didn't need all of them, so that I could have a nice little long stem. And then I took this little berry stem and I put it on there and I taped them. I'm going to need 2 of this for every one of these. So you're going to need 12 little berry stems, and you're going to need 12 of this extra leaf. So this together, I'm calling it a leaf and berry spray. You need 12 of those to complete the 6 garland. Now, you don't have to put this in there. I'm going to put it in because I feel like it gives it a nice fullness to my 12 inches right here. Okay? Like that. And that's going to make a nice full garland when I've completed it. Okay, so let me show you. I just explained to you how I put these together. It's super easy. I don't think I have to show you. So I'll put those aside. So I'm going to show you how I put this together. So I have this little spray with this flower, and then I have this spray with a rose, and then I have this extra flower that I didn't have to put anything on it. This is going to go at the very last. So I'm going to take one of my flowers and one of my spray, a little filler spray, and I'm going to take the tulle to create this first one. Okay, so we're going to put this on there, and then the tulle right behind it, just like that. And then you're going to take some tape, and by the way, I already used one whole roll of this tape, so make sure you have at least 2 rolls of floral tape to work with. And then we're just going to put that together first and just cut it at any. It doesn't have to go all the way down the whole stem because this is probably going to get trimmed, or we're going to add more tape, so don't worry about that. Okay, so we got that first part, which is like this one. Okay, so now we need to do the rose one. So for the rose one, I took, and I believe I need to use this other leaf. Where is it? Oh, I'll just use this one. Excuse me. For the rose, I have the rose here. I took the leaf like that, put it behind the rose, roll it on there. Oops, let's turn this around. There we go. And just tape it all together. Snip off the tape. Then I took the white, put that right on there. And you're just going to create your little bundles, your little spray bundles first before you create the whole floral spray, the bigger piece, like that, okay? So I've got those, and I decided that would go right about here. Let me look at my creation here so I can remember what I did. Okay, so then I took this one and put it on top of that one. Took some tape. Let me get my bow here so I don't forget. Get it on there. Get that one out of the way. There we go. So now I've got these 2 little spray bundles together. And then I just took this simple flower, put it on there. Sometimes you have to bend them a little bit so they're not so, flat. Just bend them a little bit. And this one actually I'm going to go ahead and trim because it's so long, the piece. And again, the tape doesn't have to cover all the way down because you're going to keep adding tape and more tape. And pretty soon everything's going to get covered, and sometimes you might even have to trim. So don't worry about that. Okay. And then the last part that I did was add this little bow right here. Again, you can just cut a piece of tape, wrap around, and remember you're going to pull as you wrap it around so the adhesive gets released. Okay, so that's how you create that floral spray. Just like this one, and just like this other one. Okay, so look, I've got 3 already. So this is going to work along, and I'm going to keep going, and between every one of them I'm going to put the berry. So let me go ahead and get my let me go ahead and finish all of my bundles, my floral sprays, and I'll be back and we'll put them all on that 6-piece, or the 6-foot piece of wire. Okay. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I made myself a little note here so I can let you know how I'm doing with the second roll of floral tape. This is not going to last me through the whole thing, so I do have a 3rd one ready, so you might want to get 3 rolls of floral tape. I will give you a little bit of a shortcut so that maybe you don't use as much tape. So like I said, some of these leaves, I didn't have to put any wire or tape on them because the stem was long enough. So you have a long enough stem and you can feel you can catch it onto these little bundles. Go right ahead. Just make sure that the stems are long enough when you're putting them on here, and you do end up with one at the very end. Okay. Also, if you happen to buy a bush of flowers, just count how many are in each bush so that you have at least 36 flowers altogether. The rose bush that you buy may already have, you know, nice leaves on them, so you don't have to buy any extra greenery to put back here. You can just use the ones that are already either on the stem or bush, whatever you decide, however you decide to buy it, okay? So you don't have to buy extra. Just make sure that you've got enough of these, you know, within that same bush to complete, you know, something like this. All right, so that there's some greenery in there. Okay, let me go ahead and finish one more. This is the last one that I've got to do. And then I'll have 12 pieces. Now this piece here was really short, but I'm still going to be able to grab onto it. I'm not going to put any wire. If this was long enough, I wouldn't have to tape it, but I'm going to tape it right now. And what I mean by I wouldn't have to tape it, if this stem here, this one here, had a long enough stem on it, I could just grab it together, put this flower on there as well, fold it up the way that I want it, and put my ribbon in there as well, and tape it. Just like when you're building each of these, instead of placing every, you know, there's 3 items here. There's the flower, this leaf, and then this little filler bundle or spray. So when you're putting them all together, you can just grab them all together and just use one piece of tape to put them all together, then rather than doing what I did, which was putting the leaf, taping it, and then putting the filler and taping it. The same with this. You can just put the tulle in this little filler on the flower. If you feel you can grab onto everything, you're not having any problems, just do it that way. And then just grab all your 3 bundles again, put them together, put your little ribbon in there, cut a piece, 6 or 8 inches long. And then just grab everything all at the same time. Tape it all up so you can save yourself some taping, okay? And maybe you don't use as much as I did, but you know, I'm going to cut a little bit more because it's not enough to go all the way to the end here. Now actually, some of these I was trimming them, so I'm just going to go ahead and trim right there. So that's good enough. And then I'm just going to fluff things up so, you know, it looks a little nice, it looks a little fuller. Let's see, there it is. So now I've got 6 with this particular leaf on it, and then I've got 6 with this other leaf. So altogether I have 12. So 12 floral sprays is what you need, or bundles if you want to call it that. Okay, so here I've got my wire, my 6-foot wire, and what I've gone ahead and I've done is that I've measured from the tip here 1 foot, and then I put a little piece of tape there, and then from the start of the tape all the way over here, measured another foot, put another piece of tape. So then from the start, you know, where this is right here, including the tape here, measure another foot, put another piece of tape, so that you've divided your 6 feet. So do you see the little piece of tape that I put there? I use electrical tape. You can use masking tape. I just happen to have a little roll, you know, closer to me than masking tape, so I just use that. Okay, so now that I've got my feet marked on here, I'm going to go to the very, very top, or the very end of this here wire where it starts, and I'm going to take about 4 inches, and within that 4 inch, bend it at the 2 inch so you make a little loop, and then take end of it and roll it on there. Okay, so you have a little loop like that. Do you see that? Let me stand up so you can get closer. See the little loop? Just make a little loop like that. This way you can use that to hook it on a tack, or if you have a nail, or you know, if you're using a 3M hook or something, then you'll have something to hang it from. And you're going to do the same on the other end before you end your whole garland. Okay, so considering that I folded down 4 inches, when I put my first spray of flowers, I want that to overlap 4 inches on that. So I'm going to put down this first piece here, and I'm going to tape it down to the wire. Okay? Get it on there and tape it down. Now remember, there's going to be other pieces laying on here, so you don't have to completely tape that whole stem down, because there's going to be other pieces, and when you put them down, they're going to catch on to that. So before we move on, up here between these two here, see the wires over here from the garland? We want to attach that there so that it's not all floppy there. So we're going to get another piece of tape. I just cut pieces of tape. I want to tape that down. Okay, and just go in there. All right, and just press it in there. So now we've got the little wire hook. Do you see it there? It's right here behind the garland, so we can hang it from there. And the flower is covering that up, so you don't see that. Okay? All right. Now, if you feel better, you want to wrap up the whole wire in green tape first before you start doing anything, you can do that. And then you won't have little pieces here where it shows in the back, the silver wire. But I'm not going to worry about that because my garland's going to hang so that I can just maneuver it. And because it's all wire, I can twist things, and then all of the flowers will be at the front. Okay, so remember, this is 1 foot right here before this piece of tape starts. Let me move these flowers out of the way here. Move these bits there. Let me turn this around so maybe you can see better without all the lines. Like that. Okay, so here's where, at the start of the tape, that's a foot. So from here to here, it's a foot. So we want that next bundle, and I'm actually going to alternate it because remember I have a different leaf here, and then I have this other one. I'm going to alternate it because then I want this one right here. Okay? And now I know how much space I have, and then this berry stem will go right here, and then there'll be another one right between them. So before I put this one down, let me go ahead and put this one, and I'm going to bend it slightly like that, and I'm going to tape it right about there. It's just a little bit lower than this one here, but it's not so far down that there's like space like that. You want to put them together, okay? But I don't want it too high up either to cover that up. So let's go ahead and cut another piece of tape. And you might want to have these little strips of tape already cut up, and because you have 12 of these and you have 12 of these, there's 24, so maybe get 24 pieces of tape already. Okay, let me put that right there, and then tape that down. And so once you hang your garland, you can poof things up, so don't worry about things getting a little bit, you know, crushed. Okay, so now my next stem, and I want that right here, and it's still within the foot. Let me go ahead and cut the next piece. Have that ready. Okay, excuse me. And I'm going to put this down so that this part, this flower, is covering up any space right here. And I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to take this part down first. Well, and the other one I taped it from down here first, and then I did it in here. You could do that just to make sure that, you know, you've got it, you know, it's not flopping around on you. And just wrap it around nice. Press that tape down real good. Okay, there we go. So now that I know it's, that part is taped down, now I want to tape down this part. And it's okay if it goes beyond that piece of tape, because that's just telling me that's a foot. Okay? And all this should fit within the foot. The stem doesn't matter if it goes a little bit beyond. Okay, let's go ahead and take this one down. And bend it this way now, this time. Right there. And this all ends right at that little mark with a foot. I thought, yeah, there it is. I'm going to add another piece of tape just to make it a little more stable. Okay. And now I can go ahead and repeat the process. My next one, go with this one here, right here. My foot was right here, right there. Need 2 pieces of tape for each one. This time I'll go ahead and tape it down here first, just to, so it doesn't move around on me. I think that's the better deal, to grab it from down here first. And I think once you've got it like grabbed on from here, you really don't have to worry too much. The only thing is that if you bend your garland somewhere or another, you can have this kind of ugly gap here. So grab this one here so that doesn't happen, and then just bend your flower up a little bit. But if you want to save tape, then don't tape it there. If it's just going to hang straight, or you're going to place a garland on something straight, like a stair banister or something, I don't know, where you decide to put this, or if it's just hanging down. Oh, also, something that I need to mention, on a garland, if you'll notice, all the branches are all going in one direction. So I'm going to be going in this direction all the way down. Now, if you knew that you're going to put this like on an arch, and you have, you know, your 6 feet, and you're going to do put it on an arch or something, so you're going to have a center at the very top. You could mark your, you know, your 3 feet, your center. I think it would be right here, and you could do all these, since it's going to be like an arch like that on a doorway, or maybe a wedding arch, depending on what you're doing. You're probably going to want about 12 feet of garland or more for that. But then you can have all your sprays going one way in half of it, and then the other half going in the other way, and then maybe right in the middle put a big old bow. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to continue building this. So now I need a leaf and berry spray. This time I'm going to bend it this way, because I already bent this one, and then I went this way, and then I'm going to go that way. You don't have to do that, but that's what I'm doing. Okay. And make sure that it is taped on right, because you don't want this to come off. So make sure you press down your tape. Okay, I had this type of leaf, so now I need this one. If you use all the same leaf, then you don't have to be worrying about what I'm doing, or the way that I'm worrying about it. There we go. That just makes sure that this is covering this empty space right here. That flower's doing that. Tape. Let me make sure I finish this one first. Okay, now go in here and take this one down. I think you can see how that's looking really pretty. I mean, you could do something short like this too. You don't have to do something long. Okay, let's go ahead. Berry stem. I'm just poofing things up just to make sure that things are getting placed in a good spot. And I just noticed this one, these flowers are kind of high, but that's okay. And that's where there's 1 foot, here's 2. Wait a minute, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, that's 2 feet now. I got myself a little confused. I'm going to tape this one all the way down instead of having or I can just trim the stem so I don't have to tape it all the way down. These berry stems are kind of long, so I'm going to be trimming them. I don't have to do so much taping and then have these little loose ends like that. Just trim them off. Okay, I'm going to start off my 3rd row, or my 3rd foot. Let's do this one here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this off, and before I get to the very end, I'll show you how it ends and then do the little loop here, okay? Alright, so I'm already finishing up this last foot. I finished up the 2nd roll of floral tape. I would tell you this, I know that I was saying that if you want to save tape, grab all your little pieces together and create one bundle instead of taping each little piece. I prefer to do each little piece, even if I am going to have to use more floral tape, because then I know that everything is secure. If this is something that you're going to make to sell or even gift it to somebody, you want to make sure that it is well done. So make sure you get yourself plenty of floral tape. As you can see, I'm almost finishing. I've just got 3 pieces to add here. I forgot to grab it up here. And again, I'm working on my 3rd roll of tape here. And I just started it. Now I'm just making sure that I tape everything really well. I was kind of wanting to go back also when I'm done with the last part, just to go and look at it from behind. And if I see any of the silver wire, then I'm probably gonna tape, you know, like weave my way between little stems here and there, and get that tape to cover all that wire. Okay. These I'm trimming them down because they're like really long pieces and I don't need it to be that long of a stem. Gorgeous. I think it looks so pretty. I'm very happy with it. I think I may have, no, I still got another stem, and I feel like I may have somehow stole it into some other's foot, maybe move things a little bit upward, because I feel like I have a lot left over, but I actually want 4 inches at the end here to make a loop. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh, I have my little measuring thing over here on the side that I can measure. 4 inches. Pull that at the 2-inch and then just loop that. Forgive me, I'm still sick here, still with sniffles and such. Okay, so now I know where I'm going to stop taping things so that I have enough for the little loop. As a matter of fact, you get some pliers and twist it really well, nice and tight, so that doesn't come apart on you, okay? Okay, this last stem here. I'm going to make sure lots of, I don't know why I was using the wire cutters. Lots of tape. Here. I'll show you how to finish this off so you have a nice end. And you'll notice when you go purchase a garland, they pretty much all are that way. In one end they will have a little bit of stem and a loop, and then at the other end it'll finish off like that, so you don't have like a unfinished stem. So you want to make sure you tape this down really well. I'm taping even down where the where I twist it here, the little the wire. Now you want to make sure you get your pliers in there really well, press everything really well. You don't want little edges of wire because you poke yourself and you know, draw blood. And then of course if you're going to give it or sell it to somebody else, you don't want them to poke themselves with it either. Okay. Alright, we have our last piece. I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter. Excuse me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tape that piece, the stem on it, one more time to make it look a little nicer. Get that little edge on the bottom and then come back up. So I went down, got the little edge, and then came back up and wrapped the little end. Okay, this one's going to go kind of this way. Okay, so I want to make sure I end it. I'll have that little loop there, actually. Okay. If you don't want that loop to show, then you can bend this inward like that. And we tape it. Okay. Let's just do that for now. We're going to tape this. Yeah, the loop there. Do you see it? It's right here. Right here. Let me. Nice thick end there. And now we're going to put this right here. And I am actually going to trim it right here. And then I'll just cover all that up again. So this is what I mean by you need to make sure you have lots of tape. Okay, just want that little end to end right along with this little rounded edge here. And then we're going to tape it really good. As a matter of fact, we could even get our glue gun in there. Glue that little stem down just to make sure that I'm just going to do it this way. Get another nice piece of tape and tape it again. Okay. Pull. Try not to tear it as you pull. And just make a nice clean wrap on that end right there. And back here is that little loop. Right there, do you see it? So you can hang it from there. And there we go. That's a 6-foot garland. It's just a little shy of it, but it's about 6 feet because, you know, we did steal 4 inches on the end over here. Okay, so let me hang it up and put it somewhere so that you can see it and its full glory. And again, I have my glue gun still plugged in because these little berries have been coming off the stem, especially with all this bending and stuff that I've been doing. So I've got my glue gun ready. It's not just that, it could be the flowers that come off. So you want to make sure those are adhered on really well so they don't come off, especially if you're going to take this somewhere and decorate something and stick it in your car, whatever. You don't want things falling off, and then once you're hanging it, then you realize, oh no, it's missing a flower. Okay, let me hang this up so we can look at it from a nicer angle. Alright everyone, I have completed my garland and I've hung it up so that you can see how that looks. I think it looks really pretty. If you're wondering how long this took me in total, including a break and dinner, it took me about 4 hours to do this. And I calculated about how much I spent. I don't have the receipt of, because I also, well, I do have the receipt, but on the receipt is I purchased items to use for some other things. And then I have to consider that I did go to Hobby Lobby today to buy another bush, which is another $6. So altogether, to create this particular garland, now keep in mind, most of these flowers, excluding the garland, that the fern type of garland, and maybe some little pieces that I had here, I spent about $18 to make this. So just give or take, sales, where you purchase your items, and if I was to sell it, now I multiply that by 3, this would sell about $54, okay? So I would round it up to 55. So this is what something like this would be worth, about 60 bucks if you want to just round off if you didn't buy things on sale. And that's really basically the way you should add things up, is with their regular price, not at your sales or discounts or anything like that. Okay. I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up. I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up, and leave a nice comment down below and let me know what you think of this. Again, you can use this for any occasion. And I want to thank everybody who's been subscribing. I just noticed I have 45,000 subscribers. So that makes me very happy. Thank you very much. I hope that you're enjoying my content, and I hope that I can continue doing things that you can enjoy watching. And so thank you to all the new subscribers, and of course everyone. And of course I want to thank, let me get the name right. Okay, so I was saying I want to thank Carolyn Rich for suggesting and asking if I was going to do a Valentine's Day floral garland, and well, here it is, Carolyn. So thank you very much. Again, if you guys have any questions and you're not sure if I'm going to see it within the comments down below, you can message me. I put in the description box the link to my Facebook page, which is Trisha's Creations. I do have a Instagram, which is Trisha Texas Lady. You can direct message me there, and if you have any questions, it's best if you do it through the Trisha's Creation page. I can see it a lot quicker and sooner, and that's pretty much the page that I'm looking at a little more often now. So any questions, or if you have any pictures that you want to send me of your projects, you can do so through there, as well as through my email. Now on my Facebook page, Trisha's Creations, you can post on the timeline. You can put your pictures of your creations so that you can share that with everybody. Or if you have a recipe that you want to share with everybody, go right ahead and do so. And if you have a YouTube channel that you want to link to, you can go ahead and do that too. I give you permission to do that. Now, I hope it's a nice, decent channel. So just keep that in mind. And I am looking at the comments, so if something naughty, I will take it off. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Again, thank you for subscribing. Hit that notification bell. I put up videos every Tuesday and every Friday. And sometimes I have a weekend vlog. So make sure you share on your social medias. And as always, enjoy.